Hey there, YouTubers. Right, so I put a little presentation together here to go over, why you might choose between the i5 12600K, i5 12600KF, i7 12700, the i7 12700F. And so let's get into it. Previously I did this for the 10th gen, and there are a lot of similarities going on, right? It is, that was i5 10700, and then I did the 10700K. But in this case, we're going to look at the i5 12600K and the i7 12700. So, just looking at the i5s in general, what are the advantages of one over the other? Well, i5 12600K, it has integrated graphics, right? Now, if we look at the other side, KF, the F means it does not have integrated graphics. So with that integrated graphics, it's easier to troubleshoot with, right? If you are getting your computer going and it goes to a black screen and you've got a graphics card in, sometimes, just taking out the graphics card will get you to boot up. Now, does that help you with the issue with your graphics card? Not necessarily, but at least you know that the CPU, motherboard, RAM, and all that stuff works, right? Possible to game without a GPU. So I did some of those videos on the channel, and not half bad gaming. Obviously much better, way much better with a graphics card, right? But it's if you're considering a GT 1030, RX 460, RX 550, something like that, you might be able to save a little money just going with integrated graphics on a CPU, and later buying a much better graphics card. All right, so looking at the other side, the i5 12600KF, what are the advantages? It's just cheaper in general, right? Normally you should find this CPU anywhere from $10 to $15 cheaper. Is that even worth losing the fact that the other one has integrated graphics? I'm not sure it is, folks. You'd have to honestly give me a bigger price difference to throw that feature away. Now, what did yours truly buy? I bought the i5 12600K, right? If you've seen the channel, you know that that is what I own. We made a ton of videos with it already, gaming wise. I say this channel, multiple channels that it's on, so all kinds of gaming videos, and plenty of those to come. All right, choosing between the i7. So basically this is the same thing, right? i7 12700, advantages, integrated graphics. I'm not going to go over everything I just said again, but it's right there. The F, once again, cheaper, right? Which of these two did I buy, folks? I actually bought the i7 12700F. Does that necessarily mean you should buy it? No. I have a little budget here, and you only spend so much, and that one fit in, right? Now, could I bought the i5 12600KF, did the same thing, saved a little bit more money? Yes. In this case, I don't even think I found an i7 12700 out there. So first available was this one. It was cheaper, and I will see it, I hope, within a week. So we'll have it on the channel, and we'll do some gaming with it. Okay, choosing between the i7 or the i5. I went through and looked at a lot of different benchmarks, and it looks like there's a couple mistakes on this slide, but advantage of the i5 12600K over the 12600KF, CPU costs less. Anywhere I've seen it from $285 to say $315. Okay, $285 being the KF, the 12600KF, $315 being an overpriced 12600K. But you should see, what did I pay for mine? Let's just go there. 12600K, $295 is what I paid, okay? So you can find on eBay sometimes these even cheaper. You might even be able to pick it up for $250. I always joke that, I'll sell mine eventually, but, who knows when that'll happen. All right, advantage of this also, similar performance to the i7. However, performance will be better if you overclock. So you have to kind of look at the different ways some of the folks benchmark these and see advantages that you're going to have with this one when it's overclocked. It might see better performance on your single core, your quad core scores down there once you overclock. And of course, messing with the overclocks, you can change a lot of stuff to increase the multi-core score. Now, that said, we jump over to the i7 12700 and 12700F, its advantages. This one is going to have a better multi-core performance. I honestly think that regardless of whether you overclock the i5, it has more cores, right? And from what I saw, the scores were higher. Will that translate into better gaming? No, I honestly think these are going to be a wash, folks. Just like in the past, they'll be within, depending on the game, within a couple percent of each other. I'll prove that on the channel, because I'm going to stick the first CPU I get in. Here's what we're getting on the channel, okay? i3 12100F, i5 12400F, and the i7 12700F. If I get the i7 in first, I'll stick it in the same motherboard with the 12600K, and we'll determine, hey, is this really much difference, right? So, all right, getting back to this, what are the advantages of the i7 12700? You can go with a cheaper motherboard, right? Their price range is lower. So cheapest I saw for new was $140. Z690, which is the ideal motherboard for a 12600K, those start at $180 for a cheap ASRock. Okay, so there's $40 potentially saved. Now, do you have to run a 12600K in a Z690? No, you could stick it in a B660, H670, H610. All right. Now, the other thing about the 12700s, they're going to come with a CPU cooler. It won't be anything spectacular. In some cases, your CPU may run a little warm. You may want to upgrade that. But this gets these two CPUs basically about the same price, okay? The i7 12700F that I bought was $329, okay? So, free CPU cooler. You go over to the other side, you need a CPU cooler. Now the i5 12600K costs more, okay? So that part kind of stinks. I've got a $50, maybe $50, $60 Noctua CPU cooler on my 12600K, and I went and bought the bracket for $8. So the 12700 is going to run cooler, lower TDP. That might matter to some of you that are in small rooms where it gets hot. You're in a warmer climate, those kind of things. So uses less power. We misspelled that word there, obviously. With that said, that could be a nice thing if let's say you're besides gaming, you're doing CPU mining. Which one of these is going to be more favorable? The i7 12700 would be. All right. So lots of other things. If you're leaving your computer on all the time, good chance that they're using the same amount of energy. If you're not running any programs, you can turn off turbo clock on the 12600 and the 12700 and lower that even more if you wanted to have the computer on at all times, but you don't need the performance at all times. It's a way to save money on electric. All right, so now probably should have put this slide first, but positives about 12th gen. These are best performing CPUs for most gaming and office tasks. We're not including Threadripper and all that stuff in here that might really crank for some of the other stuff that people use those for, to include, computer-aided design, animation, some of the other stuff that they can do. They are not the best for CPU mining, things like that, right? But gaming, they definitely retook the performance lead over AMD for gaming, and that's, in my opinion, a good thing. If we keep switching back and forth, CPUs are just going to be amazing over the next 10 years versus, Intel, and then, finally AMD did something about it. All right. Windows 11 compatible. No doubt about that. I've got one computer using Windows 11 with my current 12th gen, and I have 3 more coming, though those will probably be on Windows 10. So most of these motherboards appear to support 13th gen. That'll be nice, right? So you could potentially get in with the new i3 and go as high as a 13th gen i9, and see a huge performance difference between where you are. Will there be much difference between 12th and 13th gen? That remains to be seen. A lot of other stuff's going to come into fruition by then, hopefully. Graphics cards supporting PCIe 5.0, stuff like that. The 12th gen, brings back new Celerons and Pentiums and core processors. So with 12th gen, with 11th gen, there were no new Celerons, no new Pentiums. Obviously, quite a few core processors, but not the i3s. Now, this generation is going to have all of that. Not that anybody's going to get excited about Celerons or Pentiums. I know I'm not. But the core processors, those are to be excited. All right, negatives about 12th gen. Still early in the life cycle to see if there are any major issues. So as an engineer and formerly back in the day a design engineer, early in the life cycle, there's going to be all kinds of issues, change requests, things, if you're doing these kind of products, maybe you're going to see some returns, some stuff that burns out. Think of, some of the stuff that's happened with NVIDIA graphics cards with the, I think it was the RTX 3090 and whatever that one game was, issues there. So price of CPUs and motherboards significantly higher than previously. That's a huge negative in my opinion. They really went up. Hyperinflation going on, right? Does that explain it? Chip shortages, this, that, whatever. Basically, you're going to pay more for the performance. Your old LGA 1151 CPU cooler might not have a support bracket to make it compatible. Hence, you might need to buy a new one, right? So this is that part kind of sucks. That might cost you some extra money. Now, if you bought Noctua, and I was almost going to say if you were smart enough to buy Noctua, $8.99 you can get one, or you can prove that you purchased the 12th gen. They'll send you a free one. I still need to go do that because yours truly has purchased 12th gen CPU motherboard. So I have like 15 Noctua coolers, so I qualify. Just got to prove it. All right, another huge thing about 12th gen, this could drive some of you nuts. Too many differences between motherboards. So you have some that are going to have PCIe 5.0 support. Others will be PCIe 4.0. Of course, 3.0 will be in there. RAM, some are going to have DDR5, some are going to have DDR4. Trying to figure out whether you want those, it could drive you nuts. And then the M.2's support for, faster generations of that. So that's what I got, folks. Hope you got something out of it. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.